Okay, we're gonna work on the head now. Definitely feel a coolness back here. Alright, so we're gonna grind this head down. Back on the 50 casting. So we're gonna go ahead and lightly clean up the inside of the port, and then we're gonna grind these lips off the outside right here. See, it looks nice and smooth when we're done. So you don't see we did exhaust repair. Hopefully. If you can see what I didn't do a good job, in my opinion. So try to hide as much as we can. Okay. I'm just going to lightly knock off the burrs in the port here. I don't know if you can see exactly what's going to be happening, but put the camera in the right spot, you might be able to see a little bit. It'll work right in there. I don't know if you can see anything. We'll try. Okay, we're going to use a lot of this style cutter here. It's radius shaped like this, so you can kind of roll it back and forth and make a nice flat surface. When you have a flat one to work with, all it does is dig in. So we have different shaped ones. These have more curve to them. This one's a duller finished one, so it's real dull. Doesn't cut very much. And if you want to take some metal out, we have one that's got a little more coarseness to it. We're knocking out the big stuff. Okay, this port here doesn't really need a lot of big stuff taken out. Doesn't mean you can't use the coarse cutter. Just go in there and knock it out. Rounded one here on the inside. Does a good job. Can't really see anything, but it looks pretty good. There you go. Sorry, I thought it was too tall. There we go. Yeah, it was too close. Blow it back a little bit. There we go. Alright, so now you radius this in at the very bottom, clean it up a little bit on the wall over here. So we got to clean it up a little bit with the, looks like the light went off. The light's back on. Clean up the back wall. So now I'm going to go in here with the this cutter here. I'm going to knock this wall back, just smooth it up a little bit. This is going to dig in right here at the bottom. Right down here on this edge. So you switch over to one like this, a little bit smoother. Right in this area here where you got all the radiuses in there. So you go back and forth between cutters. That's how you're supposed to do it anyway. Yeah, there. You'll see something, I'm not sure. Yeah, we'll see how that works. Shattered. Loading up. now. Flip it over to the back side here, short side radius. You want to stay off of that a little bit. Just clean it up, don't cut down any deeper. That is not an area to be cutting. Do a lot of movement back and forth like this and in and out, trying to knock out the waviness in there. There's a little lube on it. Starting to get a chatter point, so it's starting to load up a couple of spots. So you turn your tip dip in there. That should make it cut easier. A lot smoother too. Okay. Now when you run your finger in there, you don't feel all these quite as uneven. You feel there's a hole right here. Hump in front of it. Alright, that's all there is to it. Knock this down a little bit better, you can see. So you're trying to make it not a bunch of ripples in there. So you can see I went way down, all the way into my finger right there. It's a high spot right there. And once you get it from the high spot out, it's pretty smooth. There's a little bit of a low spot here that's casted in low spot. That's low spot of the port. So you'll cut deep or just leave it. You try to make this nice and smooth, and you make it round. Same over here. You don't want to knock out the unevenness ripples and stuff. Most people leave all the ripples in there and make it nice and shiny. We don't want the ripples. If you look in the light, you can see how it's pretty smooth. See how it's straight. And it's got a little bit of texture or roughness to it to keep the air fuel atomized. That's as smooth as I want it to be. Now with the tip dip, it got a little smoother. Over here on this side, didn't have the tip dip, it's a little bit rougher. That's a little bit rougher than I'd like, but when you got this cutter here doesn't leave a good finish, it cuts more. So it's pretty sharp still. Now if I came in with this one like this, it's dull, I get in the same area with this one up here in the top and it would smooth it out a little bit, but it doesn't matter. It's going to fill it full of carbon anyway, so we're okay. Anyway, that's how the porting's supposed to be, so it doesn't take much to clean it up, make it nice. A little practice, you get the ripples and stuff out and the roundness into it. You just have to work on it. It's like everything, it takes practice. Okay, now I'm going to knock off the outside edges here. Just a little bit better angle for holding it up. Now you want to stay off the exhaust port where you just cut it. So you only want to grind this part that you want to take off, not that. If you put a bunch of gouges in here, the pipe ain't going to seal. Now it's better to come out with something pretty coarse. You just barely hit it instead of having something that's finer. You have to put more pressure on it. When you put pressure on it, you got less control. If you got something that's rough that's cutting, I can get almost the same finish with this rough one as a fine one. Just by how you control a bit. And the speed too. First thing to do is try to make it round and then bring it down a little bit. We want to hit the outside over here first and stay off of this as much as possible. And we got a big chunk of crap over here we gotta get rid of. Of course, this is hitting the tripod, which is screwing my cutter a little bit. It's very hard cutting up and down too. It's a lot easier going side to side. So I'm just doing this because it's this angle right now. back and move the head to get it better. Now we get back to the spin area. You want to try to dance back and forth on here and keep it, try to follow the contours and the castings, and because it's not an even round surface you're working to. So you don't want to hide the fact that you did something completely. You don't want to be perfectly smooth, it wouldn't look right. I'm trying to blend it in right there. A little bit at a time, kind of slowly blend in. Switch over to fine stone, fine cutter, burr, smooth it up a little bit. Waiting for the air compressor to shut off. Okay, so now it's not dead flat, it's not perfectly round or square. Like I said, you want to show a little bit of unevenness to it so it looks more accurate. You got a small little lip that the exhaust pipe will hit and stop. Like I said, Harley usually has some lips in these things, so that's alright to have that. You don't want to grind it completely smooth because then it wouldn't quite look right. Unless the head's way undersized on this side, and it would be that way. It just varies. Okay, so we did about this much of the port right now. Now we rotate the head and get another little spot. So don't try to do the whole thing, you'll dig into the port. See, I have not hit the port yet at all. Yet I got the cutting done I wanted to. And then rotate it around. See, I'm in a hex holder over here, so we'll just go over one size. So get in a position where it's comfortable for you. Make sure you don't dig in. If you got the head way up in the air like that, you're going to dig into this port. If you got it downhill, you'll be digging it up here. You got to get it where you can work with it evenly. So when you hold your hand like this, so you can just use one finger and go up and down with your cutter. This one goes side to side, this one goes up and down. The two go together, you get all kinds of weird angles. You have no pressure. You're balancing right here on your hand, so it doesn't take any pressure to move this thing. Any one of your fingers will move it. So you put all your fingers together so you don't have any spots where you can't really move it any way you want. So it's all about how you hold stuff. Okay, now we got to knock off this high turd that's still on here. So we can go back to the roughing one. Now right here we don't want to really cut much of anything over here. We only want to cut a little bit on right here. Just make sure you don't dig into the back side here. See, I use my finger on the back side in here to support it to keep it from dropping. This stabilizes both my hands, and I also put my elbow into my side of my body, so you get a nice, you don't want to go down, you want to try to go back and forth and not drop. If you drop, you go into this, but you want to be able to push down against it with some control. And the higher the speed, the quicker you're taking metal off too. Switch over the fine one. You blend it over here a little bit. Okay, that part's done. Just rotate a little bit further. So just keep going a little bit at a time. Now, right now we're into a bunch of fin area, so this is starting to get a little bit too big to use. So you can drop back to a smaller cutter if you want, something more like this. If you want to get in there a little bit deeper with the fins. A little bit more of a radius edge would be better than this little sharp one that's on here. I had this change out for a different application before, so this is for doing the inside of the fins in here. I think I'm done doing that fin work, so we're going to go ahead and swap this out. So we're just going to change out the bit. Now, sometimes they don't get loose when you hear it, so you just whack it like that, and it comes right out. Okay, I'll go over to my bit selection over here. And see, I pull up a 3/8 radius one. Now you don't need to go in there about this far. If you only go in that far, they'll come out. If you go in that far, the bit just gets too short. So you want to have it out there a little ways so you got something to work with. And you don't want to make it tight, but don't get it super tight. If the bits start walking in and out on you, you're not tight enough, but you don't want to break the chuck or anything either. Okay, now this one's a pretty sharp one. It's aggressive, so it's going to dig in more. So the finish is going to be a little bit rougher, and you can do more damage quickly. So you got to be careful. Keep the RPM down and the pressure down. There's almost no lip here, so. So you just want to blend it out a little bit. That's all we're trying to do. Probably need that little small one to get in there a little better, but oh well. I'm starting to grind a little bit over the port, but I don't want to, so quit doing that. See how the cutter's bouncing into it a little bit right there. That's not what you want to be doing. You notice that exhaust port's going more and more like this, so I'm starting to work on the wrong side of the head now. So if I wasn't videoed, I'd be on the other side of I'd move this to the other side of the device, but yeah, it's just, see, I can't get in here like this very well. I'm working off angle. See how my wrist is over here? I don't have control like here. I'm working like this. It doesn't work very good. So it's time to switch the head around. So you go over this side of the bench. Now I'm back in my sweet spot again. And we just move everything over to here. No big deal. Yeah. There we go. Get over here about where I'm at so you can see better. Okay. Blow it up again. You see more we're doing. Okay, now we gotta work on this here. You can see those little nick marks I put in there. They're not very deep. They're about 5-10 thou deep, but obviously you don't want them in there, but oh well. It happens. Okay, now we're going to use, the smaller the diameter this is, the more this kind of effect you're getting when it's got ripples in it. The bigger ones, they don't have the ripples as big, so they've got more surface area. See how the radius is different? So you want to try to use the bigger radius as you can. So we're going to go back to a nice roughing bit. Smooth it right in. I'll take my dull one. back with this one again. Alright, I'm going to rotate the head because I'm working up and down again. This one here, we're going to get a couple fins, and that's all I get from this side. That's okay. Let's get what you need to get. Hey, got it cleaned up pretty good there. I don't like the sharpness of these fins here, so I'm gonna hit them on my file real quick. Even though we didn't do any fin repair, it doesn't mean you can't play with them a little bit. I should be working the other direction because my port's in the way right here. Just trying to knock off some of the high spots here. Alright. Stuff you can't see a whole hell of a lot right here on the edge, but further out you get to start picking up and see better. Okay, we'll look at the rest of the fins. Looks like these have already been worked over a little bit, so we'll leave them at that. Okay, check it out. Sounds like police this time, not ambulance. There's a law violator out there someplace. Alright, so there's what the finished port looks like. So you can see it looks pretty clean. I'll go ahead and blast this with the bead blaster, and I'll smooth all this up, make it look a lot better when we're done. So it should be pretty much all these repairs we did should pretty much disappear, so you won't see them. So we'll show you what they look like after we get them done. Alright, move on to the next head.